Okay, so I'm on my way to go get a U-Haul, and the purpose of that U-Haul is going to be to get the body panels, the remaining body panels for my MR2 Spider. Alright, we have arrived. Alright guys, in the U-Haul, a lot of damage on this thing that wasn't marked, so that took me a while, did not document that, but yeah, let's get rolling.
20 minutes later.
Alright, so this is where we're at. Not much has changed since the last time you guys saw the car. This is just giving you guys a different perspective. We're still working on that exhaust work. It's proving to be a bit of a bear, and more on that later. But yeah, back to showing you guys the body panels that I came here to get. Let's go there now. Alright, so I have everything inside the truck. Things are dirty from being in the shop for those 2 or 3 weeks. But I'm hoping these will clean up nicely and I'll be able to get top dollar for everything. I was just able to sell the driver side front and rear quarter panels for about $440 total. I was hoping to put this badge on the veil side kit, but it seems that that thing is like crazy glued on there, so I don't think that's going anywhere. So I'm gonna kind of have to reorder one of these, which kind of makes me sad because, you know, I kind of wanted the one that came from this car. You know, I just wanted as many pieces from at least the original car to me, but I'm sure it doesn't really matter. But that's where we're at right now. So I'm gonna get this home, stored, cleaned up, and then you know, get the U-Haul back to where it needs to be.
2 weeks later.
Okay guys, you know, it's been 2 weeks. It's been a while, and we're not quite anywhere. We haven't really moved. And the reason for that is because the exhaust. You know, I thought the exhaust would be something that we'd be able to take care of after the fact, but it seems that because of where it was in relation to the bumper, that they felt they would damage the bumper if they drove it without fixing the exhaust first. So, you know, something that I thought I'd just bring it to a special exhaust shop, you know, needed to be done, you know, in the shop where the kit was. So the body shop guy, amazing, but his brother is a welder, so he brought him on in order to, you know, try to get the exhaust sorted. And as I said in the last video, they kind of showed me what kind of exhaust tips they wanted to use, and I was just like, no. Like, no, like I don't like how they look. I think they're kind of ugly. I kind of want something similar to, you know, to this picture right here, where it's kind of like this thin bezel type exhaust, taking up the majority of the circle. So he did that. So we ordered an exhaust tip that I felt looked, you know, pretty nice and would fill up the hole nicely. And it took about a week and a half to get there. So it took like a week and a half to get there, and that car just sat because, you know, we're waiting for parts. So it finally gets in there, and the guy starts talking to me over, you know, a FaceTime chat, and he's like, hey, like, I don't think you're gonna like how this looks. Trust me, I've done a bunch of these. You're gonna wanna, you know, go with these the exhaust tips that I picked out. Like, they just kind of look more fuller, and, like, you know, it'll be a better look for you. Like, trust me. And I was like, you know, I kind of get that. Like, I kind of don't like what you're suggesting. Like, I just like that thin bezel look. And then he just goes on telling me how it won't look great, that I should trust him, and, you know, like, how he's like, we could do it if you want, but I don't think it's gonna look good. And keep in mind, I don't know anything about exhaust, so I kind of defer to his judgment. I'm like, okay, you tell me it's not gonna look great. I think that's what I want, but I know that I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I know that this exhaust is going to be temporary. Whenever I do the engine swap in a few years, it's all going to come out anyway. So I was like, you know, I'll just trust your judgment and let's go with the tips that you suggested. So he tack welds the tips on and starts doing like his whole process trying to get the exhaust sorted because apparently it's a mess. You know, we're keeping the existing muffler, but you know, he was doing some work in order to get it all done. So at the end of it, we get on another FaceTime call, and you were talking, and I'm not even gonna go into like the bumper exhaust not looking exactly how I thought it did prior. Let's not talk about that. But you know, when I'm talking to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I think that you know the tips that you got would look better, but you know it would just be a lot more work and a lot more money." And I was kind of like, "That's kind of not what you know you told me before. Like I was willing to pay a little bit more because to get what look that I thought I wanted, but you told me it would look bad, and now you're telling me that you know it would look better. It's just more time and money, and something that you know he's already done the work fitting on the tips that I don't quite like that much, right? And now and now he's telling me that the tips that I do wanted would look better, but they cost a little more. And now I'm thinking, all right, so you charged me for all this labor to get the exhaust sorted. He told me originally it would be $750 to $950 depending on how the work was. Go figure, it turned out to be about $950. Probably $1,000 after you add, you know, the bolts, the new bolts that he's putting on there and stuff like that. And now I'm like if I say put on the old tips, am I going to be, you know, charged again for that labor? Like, what kind of money are we looking at? And the other thing, and we'll find out about that when I go visit him later today. You know, I'll put that in another video. But it's just been like really frustrating because like $1,000 is pretty much the most I guess I would want to spend for an exhaust that I know is going to be temporary. But like, you know, it is like how much more would it be to put in the tips that I actually wanted in there? And I'm sure since he's welded on these things now, like I now own the old tips. Like I can't like just give them back. Outside of this, so many other things were happening. The car wasn't starting. You know, I've got this car checked, you know, 3 times in the last year, 9 months basically, inspected to make sure the car was mechanically sound before we started. So we've kind of gone full circle on that. It appears that, you know, there's something underneath the clutch that's apparently going bad that kind of lets the car start, and they're going to switch that out. So that's great. You know, I thought it was going to be an electrical issue, which, you know, tends to be costly. So that was something that's been eating up a lot of my time that I've been really stressing about. Saw a Demon Slayer movie, and man, that stressed me out as well too. And one thing that, you know, I haven't noticed on this, I haven't told you guys on this channel, is that like, I got into grad school a few months ago. I start in September, and I've just been reading a lot about like student loans because, you know, I kind of ordered the kit from Vailside, then got into grad school, which I somewhat was not expecting, and now it's like, do I pause the build and wait 2 years, 2-3 years before I finish grad school? Or do I go forward with the build? But if I do that, it pretty much guarantees that I'm going to have to take out student loans, something that I've never done before. And I've just been educating myself on that process and what that stuff is like. And, you know, it's just been very stressful. And again, you know, I think the fact that the adult thing would have been to say, oh, I'm going to pause the build. But I didn't want to do that. Like, it was important to me to finish this build before I turned 30. So, which should be next January. So, that's kind of like where we're at right now. So all that stuff has been going on in the background is why it took me a while to get this last video out. But I got a couple stuff finally in the mail. So the indicator lights from my boy Danny Joyce, and as well as the new Screaming Chicken logo that's gonna go in front of the Spider. Let's open this up. You know, let's show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let's talk about those indicator lights. Scissors. So this is what we got from them. They are cut, but I'm sure my boy Checho at Pristine Auto will be able to handle that. Again, I think we are in business. So I want to thank you, Danny. I appreciate you getting these, chopped up and delivered for me. Got these from a breaker yard or junk yard in the UK and sent them over. He's been very helpful throughout this entire process, making sure that my build goes great, and I appreciate him. All right, because whenever I saw the Japanese alphabet on the packages, I was like, oh, can this thing really be authentic? Like, because it looks like it's coming from China. Why would this come from China? And then I felt stupid to realize that that was Japanese. On the packaging, not Chinese. So, but yeah. And then I thought to myself, should I think that anything that comes from China automatically is fake? And yeah, uncomfortable internal conversation there. What the hell is this? I mean, is this the same? All right, so this is what we're looking at here. And I don't know if it's just one of those things where whenever you're looking at it at a different orientation, it just looks different. But I could have sworn this upper bezel was longer. I don't even know when I think about, is this authentic or is it fake? I don't even know if these are like only Toyota badges or just something that the aftermarket came out with. But there's no way this is like an original. I mean, it's definitely like a reproduction, so I guess it is, fake, even though it comes from Japan. And I'm sure someone in the comments who knows all about these things is going to tell me all about that. I'll link their eBay place where I got this in the description. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now, guys. This whole process has been a little bit more stressful than I would have hoped, but I know that in the end, it's going to get great. Be great. So hopefully after today, after I meet with the guys, the car will be ready to be picked up by the wheel size and suspension guys. He already have things prepped and ready to go. So hopefully after all that is said and done, we'll get the car back to Pristine Auto and get it painted. Oh yes, and one more thing that I forgot. I was able to sell most of my old body panels. I was able to get about $440 for the driver's side, rear and front quarter panels, and I was able to sell the passenger side quarter panel for about $240. Unfortunately, when it came to the bumpers, I've kind of always, whenever I was advertising these online, I said these were like in great condition. 40,000 miles, original paint. Things are looking pretty good outside of a small area where there's some spider webbing. And unfortunately, with the guy, the parts kind of did get bumped up a little scuffed up a little while it was at the shop. And, the guy told me about that. He's like, hey, listen, like, if you want to keep these are fine, but you come get them quickly because, I have a shop, I'm running a business. Like, I can't confirm that they're going to be, like, in pristine condition or handled with care 100% of the time. We'll do our best, but they could come with some scuffs and stuff. And it took me about 2 weeks in order to get there. So, and he warned me about that. So, some parts were scuffed up a bit, quite notably the rear bumper and then the trunk lid. Whenever I lined up someone who was interested to come for the bumper, and he got here and he was walking me through why it wasn't original paint. He, was talking about how there's some orange peel and stuff like that. Stuff that I haven't really been to, I'm not really knowledgeable about how, paint is, I guess. And, he started walking me through why this was an OEM paint, and then it did have a bit more scratches and stuff like that. So I could, no longer charge top dollar. I still probably gave him a good deal. I mean, I gave him both bumpers for $200, and keep in mind I was trying to get $200 for each of them, and maybe it was maybe I could have gotten more money selling it to someone else, because I had a bunch of people who were offering $150, $185, but I also told them that the bumpers were in great condition, to which they no longer were. Now they were in good condition, but they were not in the condition I kind of advertised it in, and I didn't want to just deal with that whole mess. So I decided to let them go for cheap, or maybe their appropriate value. So I'm still trying to get rid of the trunk and the front front quarter panel. The front quarter panel does look like it's in great shape, but that was repainted 2 years ago. At the Toyota dealership. Orange peel apparently was not as bad there as it was in the rear bumper. Paint did match just fine. So if you're interested in looking at getting a new front quarter panel, it's for sale. It's painted. It looks good. Come through. Send me a message. Also, leave a comment down below. Or if you need a new trunk lid. Trunk lid, I was originally trying to get like $400 because of the new scratches or whatnot. I was kind of like, maybe something like $200 to $250 will be right. But yeah, if you're interested, just make me an offer because I kind of don't want to just store them. So yeah. So thanks again for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to take things up a notch on this channel. But yeah, thanks. Bye bye.